Ready? Everyone have a pad and pen? This whole sales training for the next few weeks is going to be based off of our first book, The Difference That Makes and Creates the Difference. What I want you guys to do is to open your minds, relax. You guys actually have to absorb all of the knowledge. The reason why is there's something out there, it's called unconscious incompetence. Does anybody know what that means? What does it mean, unconscious incompetence?
It means you're sucking, you don't know it.
Yeah, pretty close, Stephen.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And it's true. You take a baby that never walked before, it doesn't know that it can't walk, right? Doesn't even think about knowing that it can't walk. Just doesn't think about it at all. Salespeople tend to be the same way. Salespeople don't realize that they can't sell. They think they can, which now they're competent incompetence, meaning that they believe they could do something, but they're just incompetent with it. Now, what I mean by that is a lot. All of you guys are here for a reason. You want to learn a little bit more about your craft. But salespeople think that it's just a gift of gab. Salespeople believe you go into somebody, if you get the deal, now you're a salesperson. The fact of the matter is 99% of the people you speak to are what's called a laydown. Salespeople are made into closers for the people that don't lay down. That one business deal that has to be closed at $1 million, $10 million, that has to be pushed over the edge. But what is sales? Does anybody know the true definition? I know we went over it a ton of times. You guys should know it by now. Shane, what is sales? What? It's a state inducement. You are all state inducers. When somebody calls you a salesperson, all that means is you are here to induce somebody else's state. Not in a negative way. Real salespeople, we convince somebody with real benefits. How it's actually going to help somebody. Not scumbag sales where they put high pressure on you to take it and they lie about everything. A state inducer does a little bit more though. What is that?
They bring a mind a high anxiety, bring it down to a mind at ease.
I like that. They bring the mind at ease. But people think sales is kind of closing. I closed it. No. What is a true sale?
The client will be happy about what they got when they get off the phone.
You don't have to close it. Very good, Josh. A true salesman can talk and influence somebody so that they close themselves. If you have to ask for the sale at the end of the call, what happened? If you have to ask for the sale when you're face to face, what happened? What? You didn't create a belief. Very good. You didn't create that belief. You didn't create the want from the consumer. You didn't solve a problem because salespeople were there to create a problem, rattle the people up, and then say, now we have a solution. But what happens is people jump into sales and they think you get somebody on the phone or you get somebody face to face and you convince them with a whole bunch of shit and then you say, okay, do you want to get this wrapped up? Shitty car salespeople do the same things. What is it going to take to make you drive off this lot today? That's that famous used car salesman line. The fact of the matter is the consumer should say, hey, what do I have to do to drive off of this lot? What do we have to do to get this started? And it happens a lot when I listen to people's calls in here that there are consumers that say, okay, well, how do I get started with this? I want you to write this fact down. A sale is made within 7 minutes, from start to finish. If you did not sell that consumer face to face and or over the phone in 7 minutes, you are now wasting your time. I yell at my managers for getting on the phone to go TO, to go rebuttal. If you have to go rebuttal a consumer, you didn't do what? You didn't do what? Influence them. A sale is to be influenced. So if you're battling somebody, which is why I have those steps to objections that we're going to go over in future days, but if you're battling somebody and they're saying, I need to speak to my spouse, I don't have the money, I don't know if I want to do this, you did not do your job correctly. You are now a scumbag salesperson. So how do you become a true state inducer? That's what this whole thing is going to be. Now, what is the broader landscape of the game? Again, it's not closing. It is state inducement, but there's a lot more to it. To be a, go ahead.
Knowing what the consumer is anticipating from you and then putting their guard up.
I like it. It's a sales mindset. You all throughout your lives had a mindset to go do what you loved. If you have a hobby, that is your mindset. Your hobby may not be his, vice versa. But in order to be a salesperson, to be part of the game, before you go to work, before you go to that big meeting, before you do anything, you have to do a state inducement on yourself. Because how can you induce somebody else's state if yours is not? Now I'm going to give you a difference between Ethan and some other people that come in here and think they're salespeople. He believes he can make money every single day. He believes that he can do more. He believes he wants more. Where there's other people that just say, I'm a salesperson, I should be making money. A lot of you have been here for quite a while, and you've seen people come in, then you've seen people leave. What do you all think is the difference between those two types of people? You have the state inducers, and you have the wants, and then you have the have-nots. The have-nots don't prepare themselves for what's going to happen during the day. We discuss it in our meetings, but the fact of the matter is, true salespeople have to tell themselves that they're going to have a good day because they have to influence hundreds of people to think the same thing. Whereas bad people at their jobs, what do they do on Sunday? The Sunday scaries. They dread the Mondays. They dread the week. What do they do before work? I'm late. I woke up late because you're not motivated for the day. If you wake up late and you have problems getting out of bed, that means you don't enjoy what you do because you didn't program yourself. People think you go do aerobics once and you're fit for life. Is that the fact? Absolutely not. It's a repetitive thing over and over and over again. You let a car sit too long, what happens? It don't start, does it? Why? The battery didn't get what? Charged up. You understand that? So when you don't use something, what happens? You lose it. It goes dead. Salespeople, you're the same way. This turns to mush when you don't use it. You ever see a bodybuilder if he doesn't work out for 3 months? What happens to his body? What happens? It deteriorates. Why? When you don't use something, you lose it. Now think about your sales skills. Think about everything that you do in life. When you don't focus on something, you lose it. Those who spoke Spanish when you were younger, if you don't use it all the time, what happens? You forget it 100%. My daughter, all she did was speak Spanish when she was little. Now she has to take Spanish again because she forgot everything that you're supposed to use. And it's true. I used to speak Italian. Now I know every other word. But when you don't use something, what happens? Again, it fails. Salespeople, you don't have it to begin with. Because salespeople refuse to go learn what you're supposed to be doing every day inside your own career. So now you have what? Nothing. So salespeople, you're supposed to influence people. You can't influence yourself, and you never learned how to influence yourself in order to influence other people. And that's what this is about right now. What?
Competent and competence.
Very good. Now you're aware that you don't know. So now, what are salespeople right here? We have 4 different types. I'm not going to go over every single type because I'm sick of it. But right now I'm going to say, everybody, you're fronters. You're fronters because you forgot the main sales skills that you should be using on a daily basis. Anybody name what you actually have to do in order to prepare your own mind to sell for the day? Anybody?
Affirmation.
Roadmap.
Roadmap. Okay, I like that one. Anyone else?
Goals.
What?
Goals.
Goals, all that stupid crap. Yeah, but what do you got to do for up here?
Create a standard.
Well,
Yes? What do you got to do for up here?
create benchmarks to give yourself some sort of repercussion for not doing it soon.
Okay. What else? If I get up for the day, I have to go run a mile. Only a mile. What do I have to tell myself?
Positive affirmations.
Okay? Positive affirmations. What?
You're gonna do it.
What?
Break it into manageable chunks.
Thank you very much. I have to go set telephone poles. I have to say, if I'm running a mile, I need to run 100 yards at a time. Salespeople, when you start out for the day, being corporate, face-to-face, and or over the phone, you have to say to yourself, where are my what? Yeah. You have to say, all right, I don't need 20 right now. I need 1. I need 1. After I get 1, then I'll get 2. Salespeople, the reason why they fail, they think about that end goal that I heard over here, and then what does it do? What? Ruins the whole day. What'd you say?
It's too big to climb.
So far away.
It's too big to climb.
That's a big mountain. It's not a big mountain when you're already halfway up, yes or no? Yeah, okay? So you have to stop focusing on that big number. If your goal for that day is 30, let's say, don't focus on the 3-0 because when you get 1, you still got 29 to go. Tell me that don't stress you out. It would stress me out. Every day we all start at this. Every day of your lives. So now if you just said, all right, if I'm here and I get there, I'm better than I did before. You need to always strive for what's in front of you, not what's behind you. Understand that. Now, as you focus your mind in sales, you say, all right, let's use here, for example. We need 20 a day. That's where you make real money at 20 a day. Then you upsell at that 20%. Now you make very good money. But people don't hit it. And I tell Shane all the time, he goes, you're gonna up the goal? You're gonna change it? No, because we're not hitting what we had before. I can't up something that we're not hitting consistently. Do you understand that? What you have to say to yourself is, all right, by 12 o'clock, again, it's for here. By 12 o'clock, I need at least 5 on the board. If I had 5 by 12, I'm in a good running. Some of you will go, no, I need more. Awesome. But hit 5. This way, 0 to 5 is not that stressful. But you have to put the pressure on yourself as a salesperson to say it is, from what I heard over here, my standard. Now, state inducement for that salesperson as you guys go into your day. That's the only way you're going to be able to influence somebody else, or else what happens when you're on the phone? Negativity comes through. Because of what?
That narrative,
The narrative of what?
of yourself, your belief. You're not in peak state.
When you don't hit something, you get stressed out, it comes out of your voice, then you start doing what? Lying, cheating, panicking. And then what happens? Hang-ups. You sound desperate. People can smell it, right? Like wolves. Then all of a sudden now you had a bad day. And then you carry it over into the next. And then you say to yourself, well, next week I'll clean it up. And we always put these things off, right? Yeah. It's the person on a yo-yo diet. Well, I'm hungry today, I'll just eat today. No, now you ruined everything. Now you ruined everything. Salespeople, you have to mimic your day the same way. You have to say, if I have something to do by the end of today, I need to accomplish now. Stop focusing it on later. All of you, focus on now. Now, as we get into this, there's something very important that we're going to go over today as a sales lesson. It's not only state inducement for you, it's the state inducement for the consumer. It's active listening. If you all read my book, does anybody know what active listening is?
Yes, it's actually provoking them to speak and then stopping and listening to them. They're basically going to tell you how to sell.
Very good.
I think we're buying signals.
Salespeople are not supposed to talk. Don't know if you guys are aware of this. The worst salespeople speak. The best salespeople shut the hell up. People always say to me, Mike, you're a very quiet guy. I didn't know you're in sales. Really? Tell me about that. When you ask questions, people feel they have to what? Respond. Answer. People love to give their what? Opinions. Now, as salespeople, if you're there and you're just barking, you're trying to talk somebody into something, which is part of inducing a state, but not everything, questions are everything. If you guys ever listen to Trey Gowdy, he has a phenomenal book, right? And it's all about questions, but questions lead the witness. Every great lawyer, they put somebody on the stand. Did they just give a speech? What do they do?
Questions.
Question them.
Corner them.
Then what?
Get them to start talking and then say, aha.
You get them to trip up on their own story.
So active listening has to deal with questions. Anybody know what type of questions?
Why did you go with your last agent?
Okay. So now, very important inside of our business, and everyone stop doing this because you're trying to do a quick sale, which is not a mountain to sales, by the way. There's many things that you have to remember about a client, whether it's an insurance, a car, or anything. If they're now speaking to somebody new, Why don't you want to find about what happened before? If somebody had a car and it was a fucking Buick, and now they're at the Cadillac dealership, you don't want to know why they don't want the other car? You don't want to know why they're there at your dealership? Salespeople don't bring that up, though. What do they do in shitty car sales?
This one's better. This one's better.
What are you looking for? No, you're looking for a sedan? You're looking for a four-door? What model are we looking at? And they start asking all these stupid things instead of going, why the hell are you here? Now, you have people all day long that come across your phone that we wrote. And then I hear you go to the manager, switch this to me, but none of you go, wait a minute here. Why are we switching this? None of you ever asked that. I think you're stunad, you're crazy. If this person's going to rewrite themselves over and over and over again, you don't think you should ask why? You don't think if they just canceled their plan a month ago, 2 months ago, and are on the phone with you, and you were so easily able to switch them, that you should go, wait a minute, this is probably a bad case. Let me ask them why. Let me solve their problem, because if they keep switching, it has to be for a reason. On Medicare, too, Mrs. Jones, did you know that you were switched over 4 times this year alone? Can I ask you why? And shut up and actively listen to their answer. They may say, well, I don't know. They just keep calling and telling me that I have to. But then now you know what?
It's a flyer, ammunition.
Frequent flyer.
You can solve it. You don't just tell them they don't have to change.
Button them up.
Now you can resolve it. Now you can teach them, whoa, 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 whoa. Here's what's really happening. Here's who I am. Here's who these people are. And then you solve a problem. Again, sales is what that I said in the beginning? Solving the problem. You create a problem. Mrs. Jones, why are you doing this? They tell you, Mr. Jones, why are you doing this? He tells you, and then you solve the problem. Now you become a hero. Now they will actively listen to you when you speak. But you cannot just go bark at a consumer like everyone else, because then what happens? The same shit. You don't think somebody's going to be able to call the same person behind you? You don't think they're going to be able to switch them? You think that person's going to be solid on your books? You're absolutely wrong. But then now there's more. Now you found out justification for a sale. So when they go to rebuttal you, if they do rebuttal you, what do you have to say? You told me this, Mr. Jones. Why do you want to do that?
Why would you tell
You
me
already told me this, Mr. Jones, which is part of
Why Tom and Ed?
beautiful. Why would you tell me that when you're already doing this? So that's way ahead of where we are, but I want you guys to realize why people have problems first inside sales. It's because they don't know what they don't know, just like you don't. But if you're not asking them and you're not bringing up problems, you're not really selling them. You're not solidifying that sale. So now moving into that, what other questions can you ask in the beginning? Why did you switch?
Why did you go with your last agent?
There you go. Don't you want to know why they purchased the product? And how many of you would feel that's an intrusive question? Not many at all. If somebody said to me, well, Mike, you're on the phone with me today. Can I ask you, why didn't you call the guy and or girl before? Why didn't you want to call back the woman who is your current agent?
I don't have their name.
Why wouldn't you do that? Mrs. Jones, why wouldn't you go back to the Buick dealership? Mrs. Jones, why don't you want to stick with the BMW? May I ask? May I ask what happened with the last salesperson? Was it them? And then they will open up and they will say no and give you a nice short answer. And or they will say, I don't trust them. I didn't like them. They never called me. So now what is that building for you?
Ammunition.
For what?
Power statements. You're building.
To differentiate yourself.
No, you're building the problem.
If they're telling me, no, that lady never called me back. No, he was terrible. He didn't care at all. What?
They're telling you how to close them.
They're telling you what you have to say in that button up to close them to get the deal. That's how easy sales is. But us as salespeople, what do we do instead? We don't listen and we don't ask. In the first 10 seconds, you guys are asking for social security numbers. Well, that's not going to get you a sale. So, Mrs. Jones, why did you like your last agent? Why didn't you like your last agent? Why did you like your last product? Why didn't you like your last product? If you had the best product in the world, what would it be compared to what you have right now? If I was able to get you that, Mr. Jones, would you want to start on the first? Mrs. Jones, I'm sure that product exists somewhere, but it doesn't exist now. Here's what does. I can solve most of your problems, but I can't solve these. Because you have to add what inside of a sale? So active listening creates this. And I need you to write that down. Those of you that read the book or been with me a long time, DRAB is a dominant reason to avoid buying. It's in every book I wrote, every sales pitch that I write, I pitch on DRAB. When I talk to you guys, I talk about DRAB all the time. A dominant reason to avoid buying. Now, everybody has them. So you walk into that car dealership, and they say, well, I had the Buick before. Well, I see that. It's the Sabre. It's a good car, Mr. Jones. Why are you looking to switch? It's reliable. What are you really looking for? Well, I just want to change. Well, I don't think you should change. I mean, sometimes people are better off with what they're used to. Car's going to be quite different. Wouldn't you think? Are you ready for a change? Yeah, I don't want this thing no more. Can you tell me what you don't like about it? That dominant reason to avoid buying that I just threw out there, what am I doing to my client? What? Removing the lack of belief. That is a phenomenal answer, Shane. Yes. I need to bring up something negative for that consumer to understand I have the best interest at heart. So now when I present my product, I already have it out of their head that they want to keep theirs. If you don't ask why somebody needs to switch or wants to switch, you have no premise to close them. Do you understand that? Well, I'm just going to stick with what I have. Well, I'm just fine with what I have. Hold on. You already told me X. Hold on. You already told me Y. Mrs. Jones, let's put that aside and let's go look at this. We solved those problems. You will never have those issues with this. You told me you're looking for a change. I'll present you with one of the best options for change. Can you tell me what about this you wouldn't like? And then they're going to give you a what? Honest answer. When you present the truth to somebody and you close them on the truth, they have nowhere to go. Now, a dominant reason to avoid buying in what we do, what would that be? In the beginning of a call, what is a dominant reason to avoid buying?
Never in your best interest to ever switch off of existing coverage. Let me ask you, why are you actively shopping?
Beautiful. Beautifully said. What else can you say? I see no one writing that down. I guess you guys all know this. Phenomenal. Phenomenal salespeople. You guys all know that? What did he just say?
Policy, why are you actively shopping?
Good. Now what else? What else can I bring for DRAB? Mr. Jones, I want to make you aware that this is not going to include dental, something we're going to have to add on. Were you aware of that? Give me something else that's negative that you can say. Come on.
Mr. Jones, you may have to find a new doctor, but this is going to be probably the best plan for you.
Okay. Give me something else.
Mr. Jones, this has an out-of-pocket expense, meaning if you go to the hospital, you're going to have to come out of pocket some type of money. But we have solutions for that. We'll talk about it later, though.
Good. What else?
Mr. Jones, if you've already used this plan this year and you switch, you might be resetting your out-of-pocket expenses.
Beautiful. Come on.
Mr. Jones, if you, I already say that you already met a few $100s out of your deductible this year, however your doctor doesn't accept it, let's go ahead and see what's going to cover your insulin.
Okay. So all these negative things that you bring up, the consumer is now going to go, oh, shoot, I didn't think about that. But the salesperson said it to me. Now you're what to them?
An advisor.
Real, an advisor, an expert, a professional, not a salesperson, but an associate. Thank you so much for helping me. I didn't realize that. And then you have to say, but, which is a word that you're never supposed to say inside sales because it negates everything before, and that's another day we're going to go over bad words. But you have to use it at that point of the sales conversation because you need to negate the negative. But, Mr. Jones, I have an array of products that can beat the market. But, Mr. Jones, I have a solution for you that I think is going to work best. But you're lucky to get me on the phone because I have every dental policy by all of the top-rated carriers available inside of your area. When you say those things, all of a sudden a customer goes, oh, all right, cool, thank you. You'll get a thank you for something that you brought up that has nothing to do with them. Do you understand that? Mrs. Jones, I understand you're looking for a sedan, but here, if you want this model, only comes in 2 doors, and you're probably going to like it more. Okay. When you negate, find a solution. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, next one. I know my regular salespeople are sick of hearing it, but you don't understand it. After you sell out a drab, what is urban? What is that? What is an emotional reason to close? Quick. Quick. Anyone? Josh. I don't want to hear from you, Shane. Huh?
Take care of this while you have an expert on the phone.
What is an emotional close?
If you have to take your wife to the hospital and she shows up without an insurance card, how do you
Paint the picture.
Would you question?
Guys, what is emotion? Stop. What is emotion?
Something that triggers a response from the client.
Of course it does. So is logic. But what is emotion? What is emotion inside sales? What do you have to bring up? What is it, guys? You guys are giving me bullshit. Huh? Okay, bringing reality into it. An emotional reason to buy now with health insurance. Let's take that. Health insurance. Emotional reason. Mrs. Jones, obviously, you're probably like me, and you know a lot of people that need health insurance for the wrong reasons. What I mean by that is cancer, stroke, heart attack, all the things that they receive treatment for. May I ask you a question? Are you being treated for anything as well? Diabetes, medications, anything these doctors put you on? Hospitalizations? What about anybody close to you? Is that why we're on the phone today? Are these the things that you may be thinking about and or going through? Because it's okay. A lot of my clients are. I am myself. That's why I have health care, Mrs. Jones. I myself have a heart condition. Do you have any that you want to discuss with me right now so I can make sure are covered on this policy so you could be taken care of from now and years to come? Now, why do you have to bring that up?
Pull the heartstrings.
Pulling the heartstrings, yeah.
You gotta put them in the position that they're using it and what's gonna happen when they use it.
Okay, I like that. There's more on an emotional reason. First, you have to avoid, guys. Dominant reason to get them avoid buying from you. Then you got to bring up an emotional state for what reason, Danny? Stir up the hurt. Yes, stir up the hurt. What?
People act out of feelings.
People act out of feelings. Very good. Now, out of that urban, you have something called logic, a lurban. A logical reason to buy now. People don't buy out of logic. They formulate emotional decisions. But you need to find an emotional reason in order to get the logic. So, Mrs. Jones, obviously, you're going to need something that's a little more potent, let's say, to cover you for your condition than what you currently have. So, Mrs. Jones, what you're saying to me is your current insurance and or your non-insurance is not helping you in your current situation. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. You have to form the logic out of the emotion for them to make a what? An emotional decision. So, urban's used multiple times. And if you're not bringing up the emotion, you can't close off of the logic. Do you understand that? So now, you as salespeople, I want you to think about your pitch. The way you guys go open up, let's say, an ACA, that you're trying to be like Enhance and all these other companies out there doing these quick shit pitches, not even telling the consumer anything, which is absolutely wrong. Wrong. If you don't tell the consumer something, which all this, by the way, takes 60 seconds. 60 seconds. And you will close faster with this than you will by going, hello, Mr. Jones. Yes, my name is Sean, and I'm here to find you the best plan in the area. Now, more importantly, what's your zip code? Okay, and your social? That's most people's pitches in here. Then at the end of the day, you guys have this. And people go, I don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. You don't know how to sell, and you're terrible at your job. That's what's going on. Because you didn't ask anybody anything that would actually close them. If you guys just used what I told you today, I guarantee you'll sell 20. Guaranteed. If you know how to use it, you know how to say it. Just because you're getting people to what? Believe and trust in you. Does that make sense? It should. But when you don't use this stuff and you go back to that old shit pitch, hello? Your top producers will do more than lower producers. That's all it is. When you're a lower producer,